Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. I am on to the next project on my 1985 C10 pickup. I'm actually still waiting to finish up my new door cards because I have to wait for a small part to arrive. $6 part. It's going to take 6 days. So I'm going on to my next project, which is getting some sound into this truck. So yeah, the next project, a stereo inside the truck. So I kind of wanted to go along with this in case you've also got a Squarebody 81 to 87 or 73 to 87, I think it really is. But if you've got one and you don't want to mess up your original dash, the instrument panel, because most radios today don't have the holes for the knobs, most people cut that part out, and I hate that. I absolutely hate the look of that being just dismembered to get some new looking radio in there. So what I'm going to do is something a little different. It's the same thing I did in my 1968 Pontiac Le Mans. I left the original radio in there, but I put a stereo in the glove box. So yeah, even though I've got gauges down there, I just really didn't want to mess with the original stereo that's in there. The stereo does not, well, it kind of works. It goes on and off intermittently, and you have to be in a certain spot for it to actually play music, and it only comes in like 3 channels. Biggest problem with these is they've got the antenna that's up in the windshield. So because it's in the windshield, it doesn't usually pick up very well. So again, it's an old thing. It's 1985, 40 years old, AM, FM only. So my thought is I'm going to go ahead and put it in the glove box again. It's pretty big. The only thing I'm not crazy about is I'm going to actually have to have the stereo in there at pretty steep of an angle. But what I'm going to do is use an underdash mount piece. I cut off the back of it and use it to sort of hold the radio up instead of it just laying here on the flat surface. Then that way I've got music in the truck and, you know, I'm not cutting anything up. So I've got this same radio. Well, it's not the exact same radio. I've got, this is a Pioneer, but I've got a very, very similar radio in the Le Mans and in my Jeep. I'm kind of experienced with this. This is a Pioneer, but it's pretty much the same level, same pretty much everything. The nice thing about this one and the other ones that I've got, if you've got your phone in your pocket and you get in the truck and you turn it on, it starts playing the last song you played from your Bluetooth. That's cool. You don't have to worry about, I mean, you can even adjust volume on your phone if you want and change channels on your phone without ever really having to open up the glove box. And that's kind of what I like. It's music without having to worry about, you know, any of the details, and I don't have to worry about the radio coming in with these weird antennas and all that. So this will work just fine. I picked up a set of 6x9s. These are Rockford Fosgates. What is that number? 169X3. I try to do some reviews and see what works, what's good, what's not. These are a good set of 6x9s that have a good sound without having to have like a subwoofer or an amp or anything like that. So that's kind of what I was looking for. The other thing that I made sure I got was some premium speaker wire. This is the kind of wire that does not have the weird, I think it's AGM or something like that, but it actually has oxygen-free copper. Everybody and their mother suggests making sure you get, like, you can go on Amazon and order speaker wire, and it's going to be this sort of cheap crap that doesn't have copper, and, you know, it doesn't always work as well, basically. So I went with this. This is OFC, so look for oxygen-free copper or OFC if you're getting speaker wire. And again, like I said, I got the speakers so that they're not needing an amp, they're not needing anything else, that they'll sound good behind the seat. The other thing that I got are these. I've still got the original speaker holders that come with the truck. The problem with the original speaker holders is they are 6x10s. Try pricing out 6x10 speakers. It is ridiculous. Really, really expensive because nobody needs 6x10, so nobody makes them. And if they make them really expensive, and you've got to get them from like some retro sound place or something like that and spend a fortune. 6x9s you can find all day long. Everybody's got 6x9s. So these were like a third of the price, these speakers. And it's because I've got these holders, and I'm going to use these. I'll have a link for everything in the description, but I'm going to use these. They fit in the exact same place that the 6x10 40-year-old holders fit. So these will work with the truck without having to do any major modifications. Now, because I am sort of redoing a lot of the stuff in my interior, at some point I'm also going to replace the dash pad. As you can kind of see, it's not in great shape. But there are speakers in here. So there's a speaker here, one in the center, one on the far side on the driver's side as well. These are little I think it's 3.5-inch speakers. I'm not going to be doing the smaller speakers up front in this video because, again, I still have to redo this dash pad. So when I take that off and get a new one to put on, in place of that, I can then do the speakers. So I'm going to have the wiring in this video where I'm wiring up to the front speakers, and then I'm going to wire to the back speakers and run the back speakers. So, I won't necessarily have everything done, but I'll at least get the radio in, I will get the wiring done, and I'll have the speakers in the back, and we can see how that sounds. Okay, I kind of wanted to mess around with this to see how well it fits. It doesn't really have any screw holes in it, so I'm assuming it's just supposed to slide in, but doesn't want to slide. So of course, hopefully that means it won't want to move once it's in, but I don't want to get too far. I think I need to make sure I've got my wiring done. But yeah, like I said, it's just got a little tab here that I think that will hold it up against this. And then down at the bottom, it just has a little one that slips forward. Now, unless there's something missing that I don't know about, hopefully that'll be enough. Okay, I guess these weren't 6x10s. They were 10s though, more like 10x3, something like that. Anyway, kind of wanted to see how they were set up, and they actually did have 2 screw holes at the top and this little piece at the bottom. And that one doesn't have any holes. Okay, I was looking at the pictures. It looks like the little tab stays in front of the metal piece, and then it just looks like it's hanging here in the video or in the image, but it's not hanging. All right, maybe I'll just have to sort of jam it in there. Sure enough, I checked some of the comments online, and you basically have to drill your own stuff. So that makes sense. I was like, really? You can just snap these into place real easy? But no, I guess I'm going to have to drill holes through this and then into the truck. Doesn't come with screws, of course, because why would it? And self-tapper city it is, but at least I'll have good sound in there. Somebody always told me to do the hardest thing first, and for me that's going to be crawling under here to see if I can detach the wires from the old radio. I need the 12 volt constant, and I need the accessory on wire off the back of the old radio so I can add wire to that and run it over to the glove box. For my own sanity and the ability to get under the dash, I actually have to take this seat out. Unfortunately, this heater thing is in the way. I can feel back there. I can get my arm up. You can see I'm moving this, but I was hoping I could just pull the wiring out. There is a bunch of wires in there. I think a lot of it is speaker wire. I need the 2 power wires. I can squeeze them together, but I can't get any wires to come out. Crap. Alright, kind of taking the whole dash apart here to see if I can get better access in here without hopefully breaking anything. I really don't think this is going to help me too much. Nope. There is like metal all around. Crap. Maybe... Okay, not a total failure. These are 3 of the wires. I think this is the... One of these is a power when it's maybe switched. This is the ground, and then this is the light to make the light dimmable on the stereo. But there should also be a red one, and I think it's on the other switch with the speaker wires. So at least I can use the ground and the yellow, make them longer, run them over there. I just need to somehow fish out the red one. Maybe if I take this off. Oh, this is getting crazy. All right, confusion time. The other wires that are hooked into the back, none of them are red. It's like green, more yellows, browns, blues, and I think those are just speaker wires. But I managed to loosen up the radio and push it back. Wanted to see if I could unclip it. And it should be a clip, but I cannot pull it out. Now there are some wires here in the back of it, but they just go around to the other side. And this is it. First, it's been a couple of days, so I wanted to say Merry Christmas to everyone out there that celebrates. Second, I think I've figured out what is going on with this wiring. So I was looking for a constant on and ignition on. This is the ignition on, this yellow wire. This is a ground. This one is just to keep the light in the radio when you turn your headlights on. So it's like headlight only power. But I was looking for something that would always stay on, and this old school radio just only needed to have power when the ignition was on. So that's the only thing that's going to be here for that. What I think I may do is steal the wire that's in here for the cigarette lighter, and that I believe is always on power, and I can use that to then run it to the radio in order to keep the stations memorized and you know, all of that kind of thing, so you don't have to restart it every single time. The other thing I thought of is I've got a lot of speaker wires here running to the front speakers. What if I just extend these over to the radio? I certainly do new ones for the ones that go to the rear, but just have the speaker wiring for the front stay good. Now I might end up taking the wiring off these speakers up here and finding out that it's not any good, but then I can fish that down. But this is a lot of stuff back behind the dash that I can't easily get to right now. So I thought maybe leave this intact, tap onto this and run it over to the radio. Okay, I've got my 2 wires extended. I'm going to run them over to here. Pulled this out from the cigarette lighter, and I'm going to run that over as well. Ground, yellow is ignition power. I connected this white one to the orange one from the cigarette lighter. So this is my constant power. And this is what's going to go in the back of the new radio. So again, same thing. The red is the ignition power. In this case, the yellow is the constant, and then this is the ground. Now, because it says in the instructions to actually connect this to a painted metal surface, I think I'm going to try to connect it to the ground that came from the radio. Because basically this means it is grounded. So if it doesn't work, this might be my problem, this ground. But I think I'm going to try to connect this ground wire to the one that originally went to the old radio. Now for the other wires that are on here, one is for like stereo control, remote control, crap like that. But the rest of these are speaker wires. Alright, so I've got my power wires into the glove box. Got everything connected up to the harness. The only thing left now is the speaker wire. Now, from everything I've read, you do not want to test this out until you have your speakers hooked up. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard if you turn on the stereo with no speakers, there's no resistance because the speakers are the ohm resistance, and you could really send all of the power to your radio and fry it. Again, or at least pop the fuse. Don't know for sure if that's true, but if you're sort of doing the same thing, do not test it out until you have at least a couple of speakers hooked up. Okay, looking at it, I'm pretty sure these are the rear speaker wires. These are the front speaker wires. Actually, I don't think there's a speaker in here. You see one? If there are these two sets of wires only, this is probably to the left. These are to the right for the front ones. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe attach these, or at least run them over here. Leave these alone because these are rears, and I'm going to be sending this to my new rears. Since I'm not going to use the front speakers yet because I still have to do the dash pad, I basically made extensions for the front speaker wires. I'm going to drop it down in here out of the way. So when I need it, I can pretty much just fish it out from under here and run it over here. So when I'm ready to do front speaker wires, I'm good to go. If you were in the same boat and doing your front speaker wires, you would just run them over along with your power wires as well, and then hook them up to your harness. All right, got this all put back together. Got the radio in and everything. Wires stored underneath, and now we're switching over to this side and doing some more speaker wiring. So here is the head unit, as they call them. Great thing is look at this. It's rather small. I mean, it's not going to take up the whole glove compartment. So I think what I'm going to try to do is drill a hole in this little bit of plastic here so I can feed the wire, these power wires, ground, and all of that, feed that through into here, and it'll sort of hold them in place too. But I wonder if there's any way to mount this a little better. Let me see what I can come up with. Okay, so according to the diagram, green and green black is the driver's side rear. Purple and purple black is the driver or the passenger side rear. These are my front speakers. So two to the driver's side front, two to the passenger side front. So I'm not going to worry about these right now because, again, dash pad. So I just need to, what I'm going to do, since it's all on this side, I'm going to run both sets of wires down under the carpet and then back around to this side and then run them across here under the carpet to that side. Instead, what they did before is they had the radio over here and they ran the wire on the driver's side too. So I'm not going to mess with that. Now I got to run my speaker wire. Hopefully I got the right amount. All right, so I'm just sort of laying it out. And we'll cut it there. Alright, so I've got plenty of room here. Let's see if I can get it all stuck below the carpet now. I think I left myself just barely enough room here. But I'm going to go ahead and put on these so that they can plug into the back of the speaker. Okay, so those are ready to go. Got my speakers out. The next thing I'm going to have to do is drill the holes in this so that this can screw into the plate. So I've got that one installed. Probably should have put the thing up in there first, but at least I've got that one ready to go. So I think what I'm going to do to keep everything consistent is my blue is going to be the positive wire, negative is going to be the silver. Got that plugged in. Just need to drill. I'm going to do 2 holes on this side. If I drill on this side, it's coming through right here. So pretty much don't want that. one speaker installed. It's nice and tight. It's not shaking, not going to rattle. All plugged in. Just got to do the same thing over there. Both speakers are plugged in and ready to go. Okay, I got my speaker wire ready to go. Purple is positive, purple black is negative. Green is positive, green black is negative. Great thing about this is look how thin this wire is. Look how thick this wire is. It doesn't mean a whole lot of good to have really nice thick speaker wire and going into little crap like this. So now just need to plug it in, and then I'll get this unit into here. All right. Okay, I still want to maybe make a hole in this because I don't really like dragging it down over this, but it looks kind of crappy too. But let's give it a shot. I've got the battery plugged back in. And I got it upside down. But I've got power. Now I just need to do a little bit of Bluetooth pairing. Okay, I've got a song ready to go. I guess we should test it out. Got the Bluetooth turned on, paired it up. That sounds pretty good. Again, just rear speakers for now. Got a little YouTube friendly song in there so we can hear it. I think it sounds pretty good. Cool thing is, look at this. Just gotta mess with these wires, but plays when it's in here. So that's gonna do it. I love it. I've got tunes in my truck. Another interior project done. Next up is gonna be recovering this seat. I've never done seat upholstery before. So that is coming up on the next video, hopefully, if it arrives in time. So yeah, give me a like if you got anything out of it. I'd appreciate it. Drop me a comment down below if you have suggestions or if you have questions on how to do a Bluetooth stereo in your glove box on your Squarebody. I'll have links to the descriptions for these products down below in case you want to try any of them out. Yeah, like I said, like it if you got anything out of it. Give me a comment down below. Subscribe if you aren't already to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time.